Welcome to the Deep Dive Report Show. And let's just get straight into it because honestly, what we've seen, what we're still seeing from the Trump orbit, it's nothing short of an absolute assault on our legal system.
Yeah, it really is. Makes your blood boil, right?
It does. And this isn't just, policy disagreements we're talking about here.
No, absolutely not. It's a fundamental disrespect, a total contempt for the rule of law itself.
The very idea of it.
Exactly. We're talking about bedrock principles. The Fifth Amendment, due process, the Sixth, right to counsel, the Eighth, protection against cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
These aren't just like nice ideas. They're the cornerstones.
Yeah.
Right? And they've been treated like an inconvenience, like dirt.
Which is kind of where this really unexpected figure comes in, Paul Clement.
Right.
Now, if you know his background, staunch conservative, George W. Bush's Solicitor General, you might be thinking, wait, what?
Hey. Yeah, scratching your head a bit. He's not the guy you'd typically picture defending things we might see as, let's say, progressive principles.
But that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what makes his involvement here so telling.
Totally. Clement's got this long track record arguing conservative legal points. So when he steps up, when someone like him sounds the alarm, it's not just the usual political back and forth. It signals something deeper is wrong, maybe even a crack, within conservative legal thought when the system itself feels threatened.
And this 5-alarm fire he mentioned. The core of it is this just unbelievable case involving Judge Hannah Dugan in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. That one's, wow.
I mean, just picture it.
Yeah.
You have a sitting judge in her own courtroom doing her job, upholding the law.
Right.
And she gets targeted by Trump's ICE agent.
Right.
And not with a proper judicial warrant, no.
No, just an administrative warrant. Basically a piece of paper from inside ICE itself, not based on probable cause reviewed by a neutral judge.
So when Judge Dugan, quite rightly, resists what looks like a massive executive overreach,
Yeah.
what do?
They arrest her. A sitting judge. Arrested. For resisting what she saw as an unlawful demand based on, just an agency document.
It's incredible.
It wasn't about law enforcement. It felt like pure intimidation.
Exactly. A message, right? Defy us, defy the Trump administration, and we'll come after you, even if you're a judge.
Which is a direct hit on the judiciary's independence. That whole separation of powers thing that's supposed to keep things in balance.
Yeah, that minor detail.
And for someone like Paul Clement, that was the line.
It wasn't about taxes or regulations anymore.
No, this was about the very structure, the integrity of the legal system.
Yeah.
If the executive can just barge in and arrest a judge, well, where does that stop?
Who's safe then, if a judge isn't safe in her own courtroom?
It's a terrifying thought. And it tracks with Trump's own apparent confusion about due process.
Oh, you mean that interview with Kristen Welker?
Yeah, where he seemed genuinely unsure if the Fifth Amendment applied to everyone, sort of waved it off like, I have lawyers for that.
Right, like it's optional.
It wasn't just a gaffe. It showed this basic disregard, maybe, for a core constitutional protection.
And it wasn't just Judge Dugan, was it? There was all that talk about Trump's enemies list.
Oh, yeah. And the reports of pressure on law firms, big firms.
Trying to strong-arm them, firms representing people or causes he didn't like.
That was the allegation. Threats, threatening to strip their ability to practice in federal courts or revoking security clearances, basically trying to destroy their business.
Just for providing legal counsel, which is the Sixth Amendment right there.
Exactly. And apparently there were demands for $1 billion in free legal work from some firm.
$1 billion, seriously.
That was the reported figure. And look, it apparently caused a split. Some firms, maybe out of fear, reportedly considered it or maybe even did it.
But others pushed back.
Yeah, firms like WilmerHale, Jenner and Block, Perkins Coie, they held the line. They saw the ethics of it.
And WilmerHale, facing that pressure, they hired Paul Clement.
That's right. Which, again, it just underlines how defending these principles sometimes goes beyond the usual political divides.
Which really gets to that core point the original reporting made.
Yeah.
You can't really be neutral here.
No. There's no middle ground when the foundations are being attacked like this.
You're either standing up for the Constitution, for the rule of law,
or you're letting it slide. You're tacitly okaying the undermining of it all.
It's like those big historical moral questions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, were there two legitimate sides to the civil rights movement? Or fighting the Nazis? Of course not. And defending democracy's basic rules against contempt. Well, it feels like that kind of fundamental choice.
And it wasn't just Clements or a few firms. You had hundreds of former judges, federal and state.
Yeah, and solicitors general, too, from Republican and Democratic administrations. Reagan, Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, all signing on to briefs supporting those targeted law firms.
That's a pretty powerful statement. Bipartisan condemnation from the legal establishment itself.
These are people who've spent their lives in the system. They know how important these norms are. Their collective voice is saying, look, this Dugan case isn't just some one-off weirdness.
It's a test case, a warning sign.
Potentially, yeah. And the fact that the Wisconsin Supreme Court later suspended Judge Dugan, well, that's deeply troubling. It suggests those political pressures might have worked, at least initially.
But having Paul Clement on her defense team now, that has to count for something.
Oh, absolutely. It adds huge legal weight and credibility. It signals this isn't just partisan politics as usual. It suggests she'll likely be vindicated in the end.
You can almost picture the reaction, though, can't you? From people like Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Trump himself, when Dugan was first targeted.
Yeah, you can imagine the glee, maybe. This administration seemed to relish going after anyone perceived as an obstacle, an enemy. Loyalty over law.
It's just, wow. And remember, rule of law day.
Oh, the irony.
Right. A day dedicated to the rule of law, and the administration most accused of trampling on it just sort of ignores it.
It's staggering hypocrisy. Talking law and order when it suits them, often to target specific groups, but then showing utter disdain for the actual legal principles that are supposed to protect everyone.
So yeah, it feels odd praising Paul Clement given, his other positions on things.
It does feel a bit strange, yeah. We might disagree with him on a lot.
But on this, defending the system itself from what looks like political attacks, his role is crucial.
It really is. Because it shows this isn't just Democrats complaining. It's about something more fundamental.
And the goal of all this, targeting judges, pressuring lawyers, it's that chilling effect, right?
Exactly. To make everyone else afraid. Afraid to speak out, afraid to challenge, afraid to even do their jobs if it conflicts with the administration's wishes.
If they can go after a judge, what chance does an ordinary citizen or a lawyer or a journalist have?
It makes people think twice. It silences dissent.
Which is why you can't just sit back. You have to actively oppose this stuff. Staying silent isn't neutral.
No, it enables it. And we need to remember the real damage done during that time. The erosion of trust in institutions, in the law itself.
And that whole strategy of just normalizing the completely abnormal.
Yeah, discrediting truth itself. Anything they didn't like was fake news or a witch hunt.
So the charges against Judge Dugan, based on that flimsy administrative warrant, get framed as some kind of legitimate legal action.
Right. Twist the narrative. And look, while Clement pushing back is significant, maybe a crack in the usual partisan wall on this.
It's not enough on its own.
Not nearly enough. This needs constant vigilance. The Dugan case, using ICE like that, using administrative warrants to bypass judges, it shows how easily agencies can be twisted, how due process can be just ignored.
And those underlying forces, the loyalty above all else mentality, the disregard for facts, they haven't just disappeared.
No, sadly not. The threat to these basic democratic principles is still very real. We have to stay alert.
This has been the Deep Dive Report Show. We really hope you keep listening to the Deep Dive Report Show.
Yeah, please do. Like, subscribe, and click that notification icon so you don't miss anything.
You'll catch us in the next breaking news.